Yo, what's going on, everyone? Matt Jarbo here with another episode of Rustl'd. Today is the 25th of motherfucking February 2018. We're only 3 days away until we're March, right? 3 days away until we're in my birthday month, which is awesome. Looking forward to that. I'm definitely a little bit behind tonight. I apologize. I was over on the YouTube Saints with my friends Jeff Holiday and Wizard of Cause. Nick, I don't know if it's Goroff or Groff or Gruff or just drunk. I'm not too sure. But Nick's my homie. Good dude. Good guy. And again, I feel really bad for being late. I was supposed to be out of there by 9:30, but you know how it is. You get the boys together, you start talking, you start hanging out, start doing all sorts of crazy shit. And yeah, got some good stories lined up tonight. We're gonna blaze through them. Probably a little bit differently than normal. I'm going to give it a few minutes. I'm going to tweet out the link that I'm here. And then we'll go through and we'll do 2 stories before stopping to kind of talk about it. Still have 5 very interesting ones are here. It's definitely interesting. And I think we're going to be in for a treat on just some fun stuff. So let me just go ahead and get this motherfucking link out. All right, Chinese strippers. One thing I said. Google going after dem lefties and more on Rustl'd live right now. Okay. Yeah, I'm running super late tonight, so I do apologize for that one. It's been a crazy weekend, right? So yesterday, for example, my girlfriend decided that she wanted to, in February, get our carpets cleaned, right? Which I'm not against getting our carpets cleaned. You know, we need to get it done. It makes sense, right? All these things make sense. And let me just make sure that all that is done. Okay, cool. Supposedly, I'm running YouTube with the viewers watching, and the stream hasn't caught up with it yet. The browser control, where the fuck is that at? Counter. Okay, let me update that and see if that works. There we go. I don't know if 95 is accurate because it's telling me I only got 80 watching on here, but we'll see if that number goes up or goes down at all. If not, I'm just going to take it down. Trying something new, something kind of fun to be on here. Remember, if you guys want to donate tonight, if you want to help the show out, which would be fantastic, you can always go through Super Chats, which I'll get to towards the end of the show, or probably after a couple episodes, a couple videos, a couple stories, that's the word, or the ad block guilt money, if you are running ad block through Streamlabs, which is a better way of doing that. I don't even know if this is a... Oh, no? Okay, it went up. Cool. So other than that, yeah, so we got our carpets clean. Okay, go through the process of moving everything around. We set the appointment 2 weeks ago, and then Friday night we had snowfall. And the snowfall wasn't that bad, right? We've been having snow off and on all week. Everyone already knew about it. We live in Washington. The carpet company, they know about it. Guy pulls on up and takes one look and goes, "No, I'm not doing it." Right? We were up for a couple hours moving everything around, getting the rooms prepped, getting everything ready to go, and the guy wouldn't even remotely try. So after I call and chew out his supervisor, which I did, I said, fuck it, out of pure anger, went over to Home Depot, rented a rug doctor, bought some my own stuff, went home and cleaned my own goddamn carpets for shit. I would have spent $180 with the carpet cleaning service. I think this cost me $40. So I feel pretty good about that. Definitely crazy. All right, so yeah, let's try to get this fucker up to 100 likes tonight. 100 likes be fan-fucking-tastic. Definitely got 39 likes so far. Oh, fuck, yeah, you guys are great. I cleaned my room. AW, no. We cleaned the other rooms. My room is still a mess. Why do you think I have this curtain? So no one can know my shame. In that, I have a lot of stuff still stacked over here from everything we moved out of the way. So... it was a fun day, and then you know, I had to wait for it to get all cleaned up and shit, and went from all that, and yeah, good times. So that was my Saturday. That was my fucking Saturday. I felt good though. I felt like a true homeowner. You know, when you do a job like that yourself, right? I'm not a crafty person, carpentry speaking, right? I'm not handy in that regard. So renting a rug doctor and doing it was pretty good. I'll be okay with that. You know my shame. It's okay. According to lefties, Google is racist now. Probably. Matt is a woman in a man beard. His wife is a she-male. No. I'd say that's not the case. What's going on, Icy Wolf? Total Victor, nice neck. This isn't a neck beard though. This isn't a neck beard. It's underneath the neck. So it's like if I went all the way down here, that would be a neck beard, right? Or if I shaved everything off and let it just grow all the way down here, then that would be a neck beard. But I don't do that. I don't do that at all. So that's the thing. This would be like a chin strap, not a neck beard. Learn your fucking insults, dude. Come on. You're the type of guy that calls a trilby a fedora, right? Come on, don't lie. You know you do. When you say fedora tipping, you really mean trilby tipping. It doesn't sound as good. I understand that, but still. Magical Tabletop Girls saying you had me at Chinese hookers. I'm pretty sure I did, and I don't know why in the hell you are not a moderator. Let's make that a thing. Where is that? Oh, you were here a second ago. I'm trying to find you. But otherwise, not a lot going on. Apparently pissed off some people today, posting a video about why Trump should not arm teachers, which I felt was actually relatively well reasoned in terms of like why the logistics of it probably wouldn't work, or other factors. From my own personal experience, trying to train teachers on a new trick didn't work out very well at all. And I thought that was kind of interesting that it's caused almost 500 dislikes and about 100 subscribers, which is fine with me overall. I generally don't tend to like bat an eye at those things anymore. After doing this for 6 years, which I've now officially hit 6 years, it's one of those moments where you're just kind of like, people are going to be mad. And it's not like, and I even sat there, I feel this is kind of funny. I went there and I said, like, I feel what Trump was saying was from like a good place. Like, I don't think he was doing it from a malicious standpoint. I really do feel like he was making the suggestion out of concern. It was just a very poorly thought out suggestion. Here are my reasons as to why, even though we're not going to solve the NRA problem because of the lobbying arm that's been in place now for decades, and how they basically, it's just, again, I don't think people want to know facts anymore. I think it's crazy. I'm pro losing subs. You know what? I gain, I lose. Hey, what's up, Jeffrey Oliver? Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. I'm glad you and your girl Trish are watching. Yo, what up, Trish? Yeah, how you doing? Arm the teachers. You can't really arm the teachers though. That's not gonna work. It's just not. What if it's stray bullet? If a teacher, like let's say 75-year-old Ethel in the library has a fucking Glock 9, and a school shooter comes in and she returns fire, but accidentally, due to the recoil of the pistol, tags another student. Little Billy on the softball team. Is that liability? I mean, come on. If teachers who already had permits take time to certify them. Well, the thing is though, okay, so the thing is, and I maybe didn't explain this properly in the video, certification in states, different states mean different things. So you'd have to have a nationwide program for this work. It would ultimately require like the Department of Homeland Security to create an entire arc, or create a new program that would be designed for training teachers. And sitting there and saying that teachers who have their CCW could partake in the program, not all teachers do, and not all states offer very easy CCW permits. Where I live, Washington is as easy as literally paying like a fee and then submitting for a background check. This state is entirely pro-gun. It is not a problem in the state of Washington. Other states, though, require a full day of classes, a written test, just to get your concealed carry. So it does depend where you are state to state. That being said, it'd be creating a nationwide program that would then, certify teachers that would bring them in. But at the same time, again, based on my own personal experiences from teachers dealing with fucking laptops, what we're talking about here is these teachers aren't going to want to learn this kind of shit unless they get a pay increase, which they're not going to get. And if it's a state, if it's a state issued gun, it's gonna be pretty fucking funny too, in my opinion. So you've got a fair amount of that shit. And again, it's not a perfect solution on either front. If the subject's going to be debated, it should be debated, I think, with like as much relevant information as possible. But I feel like there are people out there that take any criticism of what Trump says as being this outright attack. I get accused of having Trump derangement syndrome, even though I'm like, I don't like the guy, but At no point am I screeching from the freaking rooftops every day, impeach, impeach, impeach. I'm not doing that. I'm only silently thinking it. You think that Marco Rubio has some balls to send to that CNN event, be sacrificial lamb? Yeah, little Marco does. Little Marco absolutely does. But the thing is though, the people, okay, Magic Tabletop Girls, you got to, I want to call you by your first name, but I also don't want to dox you. So there's that. But not every teacher has a gun. And Trump had said 20%. So Trump wasn't saying your CCW permitted teachers. He wasn't saying that at all. Like, this is the thing. Based on what he actually said, he's talking about arming 20% of the teachers in this country. All right. And there are people out there that have been trying to defend it, saying, well, you've got teachers out there that are military trained or former police officers, which is absolutely true. You do. But is it 20%? Probably not. I'd say it's much lower than that. So he's talking about arming 20% of the force of teachers with guns. That would require an entire new program. That would require an entire new, department at Department of Homeland Security to come on in and handle all this. Logistics of it are a fucking nightmare. That is unless the NRA wants to pony up the dough to do it themselves. But they won't. They won't. That is unless you get contracts that are, lobbyists can bid in for to supply the guns. So I'm just saying there are so many logistical issues with that. And it's like I said in my video, and this again is things people don't want to talk about. It's like, what about students getting their hands on the weaponry? Well, students aren't going to get their hands on the weaponry. Are you sure about that? Are you sure? Are you positive, 100% positive that a teacher is not going to leave their gun in the toilet? That they're not going to leave their gun sitting on the, sitting in their car, that they're not going to leave the keys for their gun or the keys for the gun safe somewhere, or their gun locker somewhere where a student can get it. Or if it's a digital passcode, are they not going to write it down somewhere and put it in their desk thinking no student's going to rifle through and find it? There are so many things that could go wrong that the sheer idea is not going to work out. That's why I said bring in veterans as non-armed extra security, more eyes and ears on the ground. And that is the best way, in my opinion, the best way to very much fix this particular problem. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm thinking not armed security, but more people. Right. And if people say, oh, but there's no, if they don't have guns, and how are they going to stop the shooter? Well, there was a fucking armed guard that was there, an armed deputy with a bulletproof vest who didn't run in either. So what are you going to do with that one? So how do I feel about Parkland survivors going against gun control and not mental health? I think gun control is an easier target. I really do. I think the fact that like the kid was already mentally deficient and everyone knew that and no one did shit is not going to make it an argument that they're able to get enough support behind. Going after the NRA, which I don't intrinsically believe is the right course of action. It feels more like it's just, this is a target, but it's been a mounting target for a while. Please do a video about my cats. What do I do with my cats? I don't know. So you'd rather 20% isn't that much. You'd rather see non-lethal weapons like a stun gun or pepper balls. Yeah, that could be an idea. I'm not against that. I'm not against there being like there being non-lethal approaches. A taser or a stun gun would be fine with me. But again, it boils down to the idea of what about other students getting their hands on it, and these are because it's just, it's not that easy of a system to get into. It would not be one that could be implemented in the next couple of years, guaranteed. So it's so much easier to attack the fucking NRA and everything else. Now, if they want to realistically go after the NRA, it would be attack the gun manufacturers and the lobby wing of the NRA, because no one's talking about, they're talking about like, they're talking about the NRA as like a single entity, but they're not saying like, well, it's been a lobby wing for quite some time. Cut out the money, go from there. That's how I would do it. 10 from 20 years from now, will there be a Second Amendment? I don't think you're ever going to get rid of the Second Amendment, because there are 310 million guns in this country. And there's no greater seller of guns than the fear that your guns will be taken away. That was one of the reasons why, and this is a true fucking fact, that in Trump's very first month of being president, gun sales were down so fucking low. Why? Because the NRA and gun manufacturers could not spread the fear that the government was coming for your guns. The best seller for guns in the past decade was the 8 years of Barack Obama, where the NRA and other organizations, pro-Second Amendment organizations, could sit there and say that Obama's coming for your guns. Obama's coming to take your guns. Got to go buy them. People were fucking lining up to get their goddamn guns thinking that Obama was coming. Obama never came. I mean, we know he came twice because he has 2 children, but he never came for your guns. So that was the thing. He never came for your weaponry. But they were able to use that as an argument point to try, as a selling point in order to push that agenda, which is 100% true. And that's why I'm saying it's just like, just end Citizens United. Completely end Citizens United. I think any Republican or Democrat, independent, centrist, whatever, can all agree that Citizens United has got to go. Got to go. Hands down. Obama absolutely drove gun sales. So, did anyone expect the shooting to have been dead and buried by now? Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. But these kids, they came out, I mean, there was always going to be a straw that broke the camel's back. No one did anything after Stephen Paddock in Las Vegas. Right? Bump stocks were kind of half talked about for like a week, and then that whole thing was dropped. So you gotta go on from there. So you're waiting for the day where a kid makes a makeshift repeating crossbow and tips dipped in poison dart frog toxin. That's something. Yeah. Remington went bankrupt last week. Really? I did not hear about that. Did it? Wow. Okay. I did not know that. I think it has to do with all the fucking the lawsuits against Remington. Which look. Here's the deal. I'm all for gun reform. Sensible gun reform. But the gun manufacturer is not the person who pulled the trigger. Like, hands down, the gun manufacturer is not the person who pulled the trigger. Well, the thing is. Magical Tabletop Girls, we're never gonna know what happened in Vegas. We're never gonna know, and there's just no reason to tell us. So there's that. Okay, so Florida cares about porn. Yeah, they do. They totally do. They totally fucking do. There's definitely that. You need a hug, Daniel Bob. I totally want to give you a hug. I totally want to give you a hug, man. Yeah, Remy. I feel like the lawsuit. Same thing. Like, the thing is like the lawsuit. Do you know how hard it is to be a person in the center? Where I'm like, I do believe we should have some kind of sensible gun control in terms of these weapons, maybe stronger background checks, maybe a better idea in terms of mental health and things like that. And then also sit there and go, yeah, but the guns weren't the person who pulled the trigger, right? The guns didn't load themselves with bullets, walk into the school and go say hello to my little friend. Clack, 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 clack. Like it's a weird situation to be in. It is a huge situation to be in because it's one of those odd moments. Duncan, massive $5 super chat. Hey, I watched the first half of all your videos, so here's the first half of a $10 donation. Yeah, thanks. On average, my my average YouTube watch time is roughly about half of my videos. That's fine. And yeah, thank you very much. I do appreciate that, but that's okay, man. That's okay. Wait, Damore got screwed over again. So it's officially against the law to make women mad. I don't think it's officially against the law to make women mad. But that was one of the reasons why, they went after him. I didn't get the chance to talk to Damore much at last weekend in Portland. I really wish I would have got to. He seemed like a really nice guy who got totally fucked over. So, run over a hobo, guess they can sue Toyota. It is a dumb argument, but the thing is, here's the thing. Anyone can sue anyone they want in civil court, right? So they're not going after them like legally, they're going after them civilly, and that's a totally different argument. That's a totally different style of court. We don't tend to take a lot in terms of civil. Makes it very difficult. So yeah, Twisted Vision says being centered sucks. You are damned by each side, but called each being logical now makes you a freak. The thing is, I do honestly feel that there are people who are logical on the left and people who are logical on the right. Magical Tabletop Girls is one of my best friends. We disagree on so many issues. but we always find ourselves having a good conversation about them and completely trying to see the other person's perspective. We do agree on quite a bit, but we do disagree on quite a bit too. So ultimately, there's a lot there that I think you can find logic and reason. The problem, and I do this, and I think everyone does this, is getting caught up in the emotion of the moment, right? So and then being reacting to that. It's hard not to react to that. And then also when people are reacting to that, to then come at it from either an opposite perspective or a more centered perspective where you come across as callous and soulless, which I do get that all the time too. It then causes a problem. Like during Charlottesville, I was saying stuff like, the people at Charlottesville, not all of them are Nazis. Not all white supremacists and white nationalists are Nazis. They're there, but they're not all the same. And they're like, what do you mean they're not Nazis? I'm like, no. There are neo-Nazis there, but there's also neo-Confederates. Neo-Nazis and neo-Confederates are not necessarily the same group. By trying to summarize everyone under the banner of being a Nazi, you really are diminishing the impact of Nazis on our on our society. And that ended up being this pretty big thing. So it was pretty bad. Suing McDonald's for making you fat. Yeah, that's dumb. Suing McDonald's for the burnt coffee makes sense when you look at the facts, but suing McDonald's because they got you fat. I know. I don't know why it's telling me it's got the -1 hours to go on the ad block thing. That's kind of funny. I was just testing this out. If it doesn't work, I'll get rid of it. But I thought it was kind of funny, kind of tongue-in-cheek sort of thing. So there's definitely all that. Okay, let me just double check my email. All right. Okay. We got 193 people watching, and yet this thing is not updated yet. The counter has not updated itself. So it's not really the best. Let's see. 201. There we go. It's going all over the place. I'm just going to pull it off. I think it's cool, but it's not accurate. It's not accurate at all. So that's fine. Yeah, neo-Confederates are shitty, but they're different from neo-Nazis. Exactly. They're exactly okay. So yeah, it's true. We both want universal health care, and it drives my other friends crazy. Exactly. I want universal health care because I can't fucking afford health care. I really can't. I mean, I'm on like the state stuff, whatever the lowest tier is right now, and I have to set like my appointment just to go meet my doctor to do an introduction like 3 weeks out. So if I got sick, I'd be fucked. I'd have to go to urgent care anyway. So Brandon Bauer says you're Jewish and neo-Nazis scare you. Yeah, neo-Nazis should scare you. Neo-Nazis are bad people. I'm not saying that they're good people. I'm saying that like not everyone at Charlottesville was a neo-Nazi is what I'm trying to say. Like neo-Nazis are douchebags. White nationalists, racists are douchebags. Total fucking douchebags. But you can be a douchebag and hold your opinion in America. That's part of what makes America great. You can have your opinion. When you start using that or using who you are or everything else to attack somebody else physically or call for threats of violence against them, as you lose that right. You lose that ability, and ultimately we find ourselves in a shitty situation involving that. So, hold on. Hold on a second. Okay, so, all right, yeah. It's all sorts of crazy shit. Will I be your funeral stripper? You know what, Jose? For you, man, I'll be your funeral stripper. We're gonna get it on. Let's get it on. No, I can't dance. So, we need to lower our military spending before we can afford universal health care. I agree. I very much agree. I think it'd be good if we could lower our military spending. But here's the thing. If you suggest lowering military spending, you hear the whole idea of, but they'll attack us again. Right? That's the whole thing. It's like Afghanistan is a 17-year war that we're never going to win. All we're doing is spending trillions of dollars there and costing American lives to battle an incoming force from Pakistan who's taking aid, or well, we were giving aid. I don't think we are right now at the time. And it was used as a way to, they were fucking with us that way. And it's just like, that whole region is shit. I never said we need to let the neo-Nazis speak and make America great again. Fuck you. How come Dave never did a video on the Florida shooting? I'm assuming you're talking about Dave Cullen. I don't know. I haven't talked to Dave Cullen in a while. There is a video of me getting drunk dancing. I think you can find it on I think you can find it somewhere. I don't know who has it. So, well, secular penguin is what I'm talking about, is like, attacking our allies, so to speak, or attacking us, even, was it 15 Saudi Arabians hijacked airplanes and crashed them into the fucking the towers. So they they're not from Canada or from Mexico, but they sure as hell came over here and they got their shit and they figured it out, and then they boom took us out. Fuck the Middle East, burn it. Nah, Middle East will burn itself, and I think ultimately that's what the Middle East wants. I think the Middle East wants is to control itself, but it's the oil. If we really want to lower our dependency on, if we really want to hurt the Middle East, we have to invest in renewable energy. And I mean, like, heavily invest, get that shit up and running, create infrastructure around it, stop dicking around and letting power companies and municipalities control how that shit works from fucking city to city or county to county. Like, really hit it home. Like, beat the fucking Chinese to the party. Get in on that shit. Ground floor. Obama tried, but there was some pushback. It didn't really work out very well, and plus some of the investments didn't work out very well. But hitting that would be good. And then if we can remove our dependency on oil, we then take away the only resource that the fucking Saudis have, or the Middle East has, in terms of things we need. Because quite frankly, we don't need sand. All right, we have the desert for that shit. So I'm just saying. Canadians are the North neo-Nazis. Oh man, Canada would never build a wall, not as long as Trudeau's in power. Why would Canada build a wall? I mean, quite frankly, the American Canadian border is the largest unprotected, like the unprotected border anywhere in the world. It's got a couple places here and there, but it's pretty much open. If you know where to walk, you could walk right through, right from Canada into America. You could walk right from Canada, or vice versa. You could do it backwards and shit. So yeah, no, Drake Dean, exactly, because they privatized the market for localized space travel, and SpaceX is doing some seriously cool shit. Put that into fucking solar technology or renewable technologies, and I think we'd be fine. So, how can we take care of refugees and illegal immigrants so people who protect us, veterans, have little to no support? Ritesh, that's a very good question. I don't have an answer to that. But we've been doing it for years in terms of supporting, after the Vietnam War, you'd have refugees or expats come over from Vietnam, and we'd give them, I could be wrong, this is what I recall hearing, but I could totally be wrong. We would give them thousands upon thousands of dollars in order to purchase a business, right? Or to relocate here. We'd give them money to kind of like repatriate themselves. And they would buy bakeries or whatever. Why do you think we have so many Vietnamese donut shops, right? When the Vietnam War was getting started, the French were the ones involved fighting, I believe, against the Afghanis. And they taught the Vietnamese how to create pastries. And then the Vietnamese took that and brought that over here, and then basically kind of took over the entire donut trade, which, hey, listen, I'm not going to lie, they make good fucking food. So ultimately, but do we have that? I mean, I know vets get like the GI Bill to go to school, but do they get loans for businesses or whatever? I don't know. I did see the colonization of Mars as part of the patriarchy problem. I did see that. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't bother to cover it though. I did not bother to cover it. So there's a lot that goes on in this world that needs to be addressed. And I think what it is part of me is not against Trump's America First platform, because I do feel that ultimately we need to focus on us. But that also includes, providing better education, putting more money in education. Teachers are completely swamped with over 30 kids in a classroom, to where kids are in fact getting left behind because they simply cannot keep up with it. More children who cannot get the education that they need through public schools in order to progress through the grades are not so much getting left behind anymore as they are being ushered through, just because it's easier than holding them back and everything else. And we're seeing this is a large problem. You also got Common Core, and don't even get me fucking started on goddamn Common Core. But that will be a fight I will have to go up against with my daughter when she gets of age. And they say what's 3 times 5? And you're just like 15. And like, no, you didn't show your work. You have to do 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. That is 3 times 5. That's how you show your work. That is Common Core. Fuck you. Fuck you on that shit. I really dislike that. How do I feel about a high-speed rail in the U.S.? I do feel we need one. Although Amtrak lately has not had a good run. They have had a couple accidents so far this year, and they are not in a good position. I don't know if I'd want them to handle a high-speed railway. Thought Police. Dude, I already covered the James Damore Labor Board ruling. I covered it a week ago yesterday. Check back Saturday, what day? Saturday the 17th. That's when, Saturday the 17th is when I covered it. So it's just, I'm just saying it's like we need to reinvest into education. The problem with it is that it's going to require the kind of go back to the beginning, to go back to elementary, middle school, high school, and push for higher standards. And it's going to take the kids who are coming into school now that are going to be the ones that will benefit the most from that change. But we don't live in that world anymore. We live in a world where you've got instant gratification, right? You know what I mean? Like people who don't want to wait their turn, they just want it now. And the thing is that comes with a lot of entitlement, so to speak. And in regards to that, we end up getting really just, I think a lot of people just, they don't get what they need. And then there's a lot of bitching. What do I think of blood sports? Not a fan, if I'm being honest. It's like dogpiling the live stream is basically what it boils down to. That's what it is. And, there's been a little bit too much glad handing with the alt-right, if you ask me. A little bit too much of that happening, to where I feel like it's anything but a mouthpiece for them, to have little to no opposition, or opposition that is easily debunked to an extent. The opposition's not prepared to take on the alt-right, and that becomes an issue. So ultimately, whatever, they can do what they want. I do not have to pay attention, and I choose not to. But I like the thing. Yeah, high-speed rails would be kind of cool. Infowars.com for real journalism. All right, what? No, Infowars.com is not real journalism at all, period. Do I think Trump will get reelected, or do I think the SJWs will grow out of the face? I do not think Trump will get reelected. Sorry, Magical Tabletop Girls. Trump will not get reelected. Here's the thing. Here's how you know Trump won't get reelected. 2018 goes to the Democrats. And Trump kind of talked a bit about that at his CPAC speech, although that was a rambling mess if there ever was one. But he's got a point. If they don't pull it together and the Democrats take to 2018, the likelihood of a Trump re-election is very, very, very small. So there's definitely that. As for the SJWs, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think a lot of the ones in schools and shit, like, they're kind of starting them off at a young age. Ultimately, it's like this. There's nothing wrong with wanting inclusion and diversity. There's not. The way they go about doing it, though, is where it becomes very indoctrinating and very oppressive, and very much trying to beat down anyone with a difference of opinion. It's why can't we sit there and want there to be everyone to have the opportunity to seek out their dreams? That's the problem. No, not wrong. Magical Tabletop Girls, not wrong at all. Not wrong at all. No, I haven't got to the stories yet. I fucking needed to. I wasn't even gonna do that. I was gonna sit there and jump to the stories first and then do the conversation afterward. Trump's building us up. Not really. Not really. That's the whole thing. The thing is, here's the thing. Here's why Trump won't get reelected, and I'll be perfectly bluntly honest with you. If you look at the breakdown, the Electoral College breakdown of the fucking election, it really does boil down to 77,000 votes across 3 states. Hillary Clinton did not campaign in Michigan, Wisconsin, or Pennsylvania. Well, she didn't campaign in Michigan or Wisconsin. I think her campaigning in Pennsylvania was minimal, right? And it boiled down to really Wisconsin and Michigan, states that I do believe predominantly went, I know Wisconsin predominantly went blue, but it went red. And had that gone blue, it would have been a different story. And the thing is also, Jill Stein took 2% of the vote in Florida, and that 2%, if that would have gone to Hillary Clinton, then that would have pushed her over the top for that. So looking at the electoral college breakdown, the road to 270 really boiled down to a minimal amount of votes across a couple states where Hillary Clinton ignored. And that's been a talking point heavily by a lot of people. And the Democrats will not make that mistake again. They are finding themselves, at least in terms of the pendulum swift going upward. They need to get their shit together, and they need to actually be able to run on a platform. Right now, their platform does really seem to be only anti-Trump, which is not going to do well for them ultimately, but but it could be enough to get them to 2018. The 2020, different story, but we're talking 2018. They could probably get it then if they're running on an anti-Trump narrative for then, but they need to get a platform by the election. And if they're able to get a platform and have it be a workable platform and not just fucking sound bites over and over and over again, then maybe they got a shot. But at the same time, Trump could come out there and can do the same thing he did before, because as we've learned, Trumpism only works for Trump. Can Biden take on and defeat Trump in 2020? Abso-fucking-lutely. Oh my God. Biden comes into play, it's over. If Biden announces, which by the way he will fucking run. He's already been prepping the groundwork. I think it's going to be Bernie Sanders is looking to run. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a fucking Biden Bernie ticket. I'm calling that now. If it's a Biden Bernie ticket, it's over. It is over. Done. We're talking 8 years of Biden and Bernie, hands down. I'm not 2028 would be a totally different ride, but yeah, because here's the truth of it. The truth of it is this. What you've got is more people these days that are leaning left, and that has a lot to do probably with the way that they're brought up. You have a younger generation of vocal conservatives, but the numbers aren't always there. The numbers for conservatives now populate mostly rural counties, as well as the older generation, and those people will be dying off in the next 20 years. So as that happens, we're going to see this shift, and that shift is going to end up really impacting conservatives for quite some time. It is. Conservatives are going to become less conservative socially, and that's going to end up helping them. And we're already kind of seeing that now, where you've got a lot of that kind of happening with a few of those people. The younger generation doesn't care if you're gay or black. If you want to be conservative, they're on board. So that's going to actually work in their favor, but they've got to be able to counter that same narrative on the Democrat side. It's going to be kind of weird. Anyway, I've been ranting on about this one for a while. I'm just saying, no, Abu Hassan. See, here's the thing. Abdu Hassan saying, I thought Biden was a child molester. I push government fables, whatever, man. So ultimately, it's just like this. Is the stuff with Biden, what they're going to get Biden on, they've already tried. Like Cassandra Fairbanks have already tried last month when Biden was making the rounds or whatever, or towards the end of the year, when he was making the rounds for his new book. She really tried pushing that hard to get that whole thing running. Biden has survived plagiarism charges. That will come up again. But if the best they got is him being creepy towards some women in terms of like hugging, or like him doing the elderly grandpa thing, it's not going to stick. That's the whole point. It's not going to stick. Are all the issues Trump facing driving him nuts? Possibly. Possibly. I think Trump ultimately, like I said, I don't think Trump wanted to be president. I think now that he is president, I think he is realizing that it's not as crazy as a game as he wants it to be. Biden wasn't really, see the turn. So when you say Biden fondling little girls, fondling is a very, very, very tricky word to use, because it's a really tricky word to use, because ultimately when you say Biden fondling little girls, it kind of means, him getting in between their legs or something. That's a very, very word to use. If he was just like rubbing their shoulders or giving them too much hugs, which is from what I've seen tends to be the general case, that's not considered really fondling, and that puts a very distinct view in people's minds, which is not going to send the right message, unless that's, of course, how you're trying to smear him. So, according to The Onion, Biden destroyed a whack-a-mole at Dave & Buster's. Hell yeah. Do I think that the young generation's liking Democrats being McCarthyites? I don't know, man. I fucking hate that shit. I do. I really hate that shit because it's terrible. It's fucking terrible that this is what it's gone down to. Hillary, no, I don't think Hillary is going to run again. Unwanted contact, AW, is more of an appropriate term than fondling. I will say that. The Dems need new blood so they cannot win. I'm telling you, though, they're going to start pushing Robert Kennedy III. That's going to be a thing. Very similar to how the GOP wanted to push Marco Rubio in 2012, but they fucking dropped the ball on that one. Don't let Biden grab him by the pussy. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that could be a slogan. That's probably going to happen. The thing is, Trump isn't killing anything. He's not killing anything. Trust me, you know, whatever happens with the Mueller investigation is not going to look well on Trump as a whole, because it's not. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's really kind of setting the stage for a lot of fucking dominoes to fall, and who knows where it's going to land on Trump. And that is just me being honest. He wasn't. I know, the drooling Kennedy. I know. Dems equal anti-white. I don't think the Dems are anti-white. I think the Dems are just, they got comfortable with Obama and they thought they could run Hillary and win. And because of the first female president angle, and it failed. And now they're running through a lot of shit. But a Jeep pie getting investigated is pretty fucking funny. So, if McCarthy was alive today, he'd call himself a Democrat. I don't know about that one. Oprah already said she won't run. Is the Republican Party going to implode by 2020? I don't know. Trump is killing more people with Trump's like said with Obama Trumps. Oh, okay, hold on. No, I'm not blind, thought police, at all. I watch Fox, I watch MSNBC, I watch CNN. You get an idea of what the fuck is going on out there. I tend not to read Gateway Pundit or a lot of those kind of salacious blogs because, you know, I mean, sometimes I do for stories because like they have interesting coverage. Clinton got it. Okay, Clinton got impeached for getting his dick sucked and not telling them and lying about it. It's not the same thing as potential collusion with the Russians during a campaign. It's an entirely different world. You can't even compare the two. You can't. You just can't do it. It's not. Shamanik, dude, you know, you're running in here with fucking clearly, you know, clearly you're not paying attention if that's what you're saying. That's fine. So, okay. So in the Arab world, people are too indoctrinated to hate Trump. They say death to Trump, the Jew. Why you see the media promoting Angela Merkel as a savior. Well, I could argue that in, they call him Trump a Jew. That's pretty funny. But Angela Merkel, yeah, given the Germany policy. I will say, though, YouTube is cracking down on that 120 dB or 120, whatever the fuck it is, that the whole movement out of Germany right now, their whole Me Too thing. That's pretty crazy. Do I think the Dems are pushing the same logic on this Mueller investigation? I think you start feeling like that the election again in 2016. Nah, because it's the Dems are looking at because there's like multiple investigations happening right now, right? It's not just the Mueller investigation. You've also got the House Intelligence Committee looking into it. That's the whole Devin Nunes thing. And Nunes, I mean, come on. At this point, you cannot look at Nunes and just go, this dude is straight up a puppet. Oh my God. Or a lapdog. I think the better way to describe Nunes is a lapdog. I mean, like the Democrats released their memo yesterday, and that was interesting. But ultimately, I think we're gonna, I think what we're going to see, and here's the thing, is we can, you know, there's politics to be debated constantly. I honestly, no, because I've said, hold on, DKJ Spec, I'll just go back to that point. I have repeatedly said from the beginning that their Mueller investigation probably will not prove that Trump himself had any collusion. They won't be able to prove anything. But what's going to happen is other minions are going to get caught up in it, and those minions are going to be the ones that may be fucked up, and those ones are going to be the ones that go to jail. Trump is really good at making sure he's not directly connected to a lot of things. So ultimately, I think that's what's going to boil down here. I don't know if Trump did anything, but I don't think we're going to get the collusion that a lot of the Democrats want. But we are going to get a fair amount of people involved with the campaign having gone to jail. Like, okay, I'll touch on this point. I really do need to get to these stories because I am like an hour into this thing, or 45 minutes in. Look at the Rick Gates situation. Just look at the Rick Gates situation. Rick Gates was brought up on multiple charges. Same with Manafort. But Rick Gates pled guilty to 2, right? To 2 out of 31 that just went away. He pled down to 2. Part of that was a cooperation agreement, even going as far as to go undercover, which makes no sense at this point. But you have to have some seriously good intel if they're going to sit there and drop 31 indictments down to 2, right? That is, you've got to have something good. We don't know what that is yet. We're getting this drip to us, but that's going to be about it. So, if Ajit Pai is found guilty, will his net neutrality ending FCC rule be void? I don't think so. I don't know. So, hold on. Wait, hold on. Thought police. What are you crying about now? Hold on. Who investigated who? I'm trying to look through and see. There's a lot of people talking. Who didn't do anything? Who is you can't sit there. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing with this. If you're talking about Trump and the investigation is still ongoing. By claiming he didn't do anything, if this is who you're referring to, it's kind of a moot point. You don't know that. The investigation hasn't been complete yet. They're not going to run out every single fucking day and say, hey guys, you know what we've been up to? Here's what we found. They're not going to do that. That's not how open investigations work. So that argument ultimately holds very little weight in regards to this particular situation, simply because there's no way that you're going to be able to get that information. So by arguing that there's nothing there makes no sense right now. It's just a moot point. They spied on him and they found nothing. They weren't spying on him. They caught parts of what he said in a conversation, right? They weren't looking into him. Again, that is a complete fallacy put out there by Trump in the whole wiretapping comments. He said certain things to create a certain narrative, which has ultimately been proven untrue. Like, for example, I got into a conversation, I don't know if I call it a conversation, but let's say a conversation the other night with Aiden Paladin on V-Stream. And she came at me trying to claim that the Pizzagate thing was real and that I was wrong for saying that it wasn't real. And then that the Steele dossier was debunked, which it is in no way debunked, period. Right? Like, this is the thing when it comes to like a lot of conservative media, especially something like fucking Hannity, who has got his head so far up Trump's ass that it's like really, really, really sad that he's trading his journalistic integrity to be this particular type of herald for the president. But if you follow, like, this is why I honest to God recommend, and this will get fucking laughed at by some people, but I honest to God recommend, start watching Rachel fucking Maddow. Whatever your politics are, just look at what she says. Look at the story she presents. Look at where she's following the money. Every single day, she's following the money. And you don't see this coverage anywhere else. Period. Fox doesn't talk about it. No fucking right-wing blogs talk about it. No one's talking about it. But look at what Rachel has to say. Because they're all watching what she says. This is what she does. So you need to go and check that out. I'm not like your politics. You may hate Rachel, fine. Call her Mad Cow, fine. But listen to what she says. There's actually some shit there. It's interesting. It's look at the money. Look at where the money's connected. All of these banks, all of these players, all of these email chains and things that they've been able to get their hands on all keep tying back to all of this crazy shit. It's very interesting. Thoughts on Ajit Pai and who's worse, Ajit or Alex Jones? Madhouse. See, I love it's the code. Okay, back real quick on the fucking Pizzagate thing. Yes, the code of messages were very weird, but was it relating to a child underground sex dungeon in Comet Ping Pong? No. That's why Pizzagate was bullshit, right? But there are actual child prostitution rings that happen that do need to be stopped, and I've always said that. I want the Trump PP tape. I just want the Trump PP tape, and not because I want to be mad. I've already said this. I'm not mad at him. I think it's a baller move. I think the PP tape is a baller move. So the Steele dossier was the Carter Page. It was a Carter Page thing. The Steele dossier was used in getting a FISA warrant that was already, Jesus Christ, the fucking FISA warrant was already granted before the fucking PP tape dossier came to light. Like, it was on its third renewal, which is when they used that. The judge knew that it was a politically motivated dossier. All that information was already available and presented to the judge. Therefore, he took that all into account and still approved it. Like, so again, there's a lot of stuff there. It wasn't like the warrant was given because of the dossier. They were literally already in their third renewal process for the fucking warrant when they use that dossier. That is fact. Look, Thought Police, I don't give a fuck if you respect me or not, dude. I'm telling you, you got one side in this fucking fight, and you're not even remotely looking at it from the other side. No, seriously, like, I'm not even, like, fucking kidding. Like, that is where you are right now. Right? You're the type of guy who's going to run out into the streets and go, like, there's no collusion. There's no evidence. Yeah, they're not done with the investigation yet. If they conclude the investigation and there's nothing there, cool. That's actually a good thing, believe it or not. So, the PP tape I want to believe. So, no, look, you can you can not like Rachel Maddow, but you can sit there but I'm telling you, what she covers, just from a nonpartisan perspective, is super fucking interesting. I do wish she'd hurry up and get to the goddamn point, though, sometimes, because it goes on for fucking ever. But it's what you get out of her is far more realistic and interesting than what you get out of fucking Hannity. This guy, he's just milking Trump's prostate. Just, oh, daddy, love me, daddy, as Trump fucking comes on their face. So, let's see. Maddow's not nuts. I don't know. How did I get so many fucking conservative fucking people? Can I recommend any mobile games for people who are bored at work? Fallout Shelter is good. Clash. What's that Clash one where it's not Clash of Kings? Clash something or another. Hold on. I got it on here. I think I got it on here. Clash Royale is pretty good. A year ago, I did a sponsored video for Best Fiends Forever, which was a free game. It was pretty fun. What do I call an Arab terrorist with a wooden leg, a sticky bomb? That's pretty funny. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the fucking the thing. Are there Dookie tapes? That's the question. God, that'd be pretty funny too. The thing is the P tapes, I don't give a shit about Trump and hookers. I don't. I've never cared. But if he seriously, if that is a legit thing, if that actually fucking happened, which again, no evidence to suggest that it did so far. We haven't seen the tape, so we have no fucking idea. But just the fact that if he would do that is like such a vindictive play. I just think it's cool. No, I don't think it's only conservatives that hate Maddow, but it's like every time I mention Maddow, everyone's like, oh my God, fucking Maddow. She's got the #1 primetime news show. And I'm saying, like, she covers a lot of shit that you don't hear anywhere else. So there's definitely that. Oh yeah. Janine Pirro, I know. Fuck, I hate Janine Pirro. Oh my God. She is, again, just another one too. Just another one. But anyway, all right. I should have already jumped into the fucking stories. There's a lot to get through. And I only have like an hour left. So there's a lot to get through here. Fuck. All right. Okay, let's jump into the first one. Oh, Jesus Christ. If you could provide evidence of Maddow being a liar, I'll look at it. But until then, like, all you're doing is spewing nonsense, Thought Police. That is, like, literally all you are doing. Okay. Cool beans. Let's jump into this here. Let's see. All right. So, last year there was a whole James Damore situation, right? Guy releases the Google memo, the progressive media picks up on it, and they're just like, tech bro, and there's all sexist stuff, and then they ended up using it as a reason to get rid of him, and James Damore filed a lawsuit for discrimination, but ended up basically losing that, at least with the Labor Review Board, simply because they tried arguing that the potential of him saying things that would make people upset was enough for Google to fire him. Really makes you look at the way the country operates in terms of people's opinions and everything else, considering that he was trying to help and he got screwed over in the process. But here we're finding out that there's another ex-Google engineer who was fired for being too liberal. Now, I'm not going to lie. When I first saw the headline, my thought was, say what? That doesn't make any sense to me. But apparently, Tim Chevalier sues Google, claims only employees who represent the majority speak. Which, well, we've seen this in regressive circles. It's the echo chamber. They don't care at all about getting anything else done. They just want to maintain that echo chamber. And it happens in all forms of politics, absolutely. But it feels really bad on the left because they just do it in ways where you're like, God, that's so scummy. Anyway, it says here that an ex-Google engineer has sued his former employer, claiming that he was wrongfully terminated as a result of expressing his politically liberal opinions, which included opposing harassment and white supremacy on internal message boards. I think at this point, I just want to say, for one, it's safe to say that you should probably never use internal message boards, right? You should never really use the internal mail or the internal internet if you work at one of these tech companies, because it's never going to end well in your favor. Now, according to the lawsuit, which was filed Wednesday in the state of court in San Francisco, Tim Chevalier, probably mispronounced that, I do apologize, served as a site reliability engineer from 2015 until November 2017. Chevalier, who identifies himself as disabled, queer, and transgender man, routinely spoke out in favor of minority and traditional underprivileged rights, in particular to counter the opinions offered up by another then colleague, James Damore. So this is okay. Like, this is the thing. So this person, Tim Chevalier, is a disabled, queer, and transgender man. So let's just, if you think about it in terms of just the regressive stack, is check those boxes, right? Just check those boxes. This is the type of person that Google really just gets wet at the lips for. I'm talking like salivates through their panties for. This is the type of person that they want to fill the diversity and inclusion quota. This is what they're hoping for. And they fired this person for being too liberal. It's entirely possible that just based, upon the culture that's created there, that if they are the minority, and when you have the minority, they usually get ostracized because they don't fit in that tiny little box of inclusion that the minority has built for themselves, i.e. their own echo chamber. Now, last year, among many other statements in his lengthy memo, Damore argued that the preferences and abilities of men and women differ in part due to biological causes, and that these differences may explain why we don't see equal representation in women in tech and leadership. In August 2017, Damore was fired from Google, and he recently lost his filing with the National Labor Relations Board. And the thing is, what Damore was doing here, what he was arguing for, believe it or not, and this is what never gets covered, he was arguing for diversity. He was arguing for inclusion. He was arguing for ways to Google to essentially figure these things out in order to make the hiring process a lot better. Because ultimately what he was saying was that there's 20% of the hires there were female, and that kind of goes in line with 20% of the computer sciences degrees that go out being female. So Google was hiring in line with the rate of degrees that were being given out at universities, probably around the world and whatnot, just a general overall statistic. And he wanted to find ways to make this work, and that's what he did. He ultimately was trying to argue for a more diverse and inclusive environment to bring in more of these people. But because of the way that the memo was received, and because of the way that the memo was pushed due to the regressive media, they treated him like he was literally Hitler. Now, by contrast, in September 2016, Chevalier wrote, "In a culture where it's common to respond to diversity initiatives with 'we can't lower the bar,' implying a baseline assumption that women, non-binary people, and men of color are incompetent, it's equally important that we don't do the reverse, that we don't insist on white male competence even in the face of clear evidence to the contrary." Now, not long after when Chevalier's newly assigned manager, Peter Dahl, criticized his subordinates for too much social activism, despite the fact that Chevalier was rewarded with multiple peer bonuses for his internal commentary. So essentially what you have here is Peter Dahl is criticizing the too much social activism But in reality, the people that were there were on board with it. So Chevalier was going off and being super lefty, but his boss was like not super into it. That's kind of what I'm getting here. Now, however, as months passed and a friction continued between himself and his superiors, Chevalier also believed that others, including human resource official, were dismissive of his remarks and critiques, which ultimately led to his dismissal. Now, the lawsuit continues on by saying, though Chevalier's conversations with his manager in human resources, he learned that Google defines appropriate workplace speech by the standard of what someone with a cisgender, heterosexual, white male, upper middle class background would say. In truth, Google's promise to allow its employees to freely speak their minds only applies to people who represent the majority viewpoint and use the majority rhetoric. But if that was true, then James Damore wouldn't have been fired. James Damore, a man who is a string bean, who looks like he is 90 pounds soaking wet, probably spoke to quite a bit here of what Chevalier is complaining about, and yet was ultimately fired. Ultimately fired for sharing a document trying to fight for diversity and inclusivity in terms of hiring inside of Google and how to make it a better place. Whereas he was actually sent death threats from other employees, which is why he didn't go into work after the memo broke and went viral. And those employees, at least one in particular, was given a slap on the wrist while he was terminated and basically run through the PR ringer of the social tech blog community, which then moved over to the social regressive blogs we find online. And here we've got a person who's probably a bit more of a lefty than people like, complaining that Google is like, maybe some of your language wasn't really the best. Now, Google spokeswoman Gina Scigliano says that a lively debate is an important part of company culture, apparently unless you are Tim Chevalier or James Damore. She goes on to say, but like any workplace, it doesn't mean anything goes. All employees acknowledge our code of conduct and other workplace policies, under which promoting harmful stereotypes based on race or gender is prohibited. This is a very standard expectation that most employees have on their employers, or most employers have on their employees. The overwhelming majority of our employees communicate in a way that is consistent with our policies. But when an employee does not, it is something we must take seriously. We will always make our decision without any regard to the employee's views. Now, the update here says, in the original version of the story, ours inaccurately described Damore's memo in a brief one-sentence summary. For clarity, they've updated it. And that's good. At least they've gone trying to update it there, even though they probably don't agree with what James Damore said. Even though at the speech I was at with Damore, evolutionary biologists broke it down what he was trying to say, and you're like, oh yeah, I get it. Because when someone with a science degree actually looks at what he says, and not someone with a bachelor's in communications can decipher what Damore is up to, and then we can get it. But we ultimately look at this particular story here, and we can kind of come to the realization that Google definitely likes an echo chamber, but they don't like you to go outside of the echo chamber. And that's kind of what I feel like Tim here was up to. Tim was walking around and using language that was probably pretty salty. A lot of the pejoratives and things like that we see online that might be relatively normal on Twitter and other particular blogs, but that might not have actually gone over well inside of Google. And the way I'm kind of take this whole thing is that Tim was probably warned a couple times about this, was definitely told this is not a good idea, and probably didn't care, thinking that, oh, well, I'm talking about the types of issues that Google wants. I'm talking about the type of issues that Google cares about, but I'm not doing it in the way that they want, and therefore I'm now the victim. I don't know if I feel bad for Tim. I feel bad for James, obviously, because this dude was literally trying to help, where it feels like Tim was trying to be the alpha of the regressive, so to speak, using that really over-the-top salty language in order to strike down the patriarchy and everything else, which seems to be kind of a thing when you look at a lot of the crazy, more out there social activists, right? They have to be as loud and as boorish as humanly possible in order to maintain the attention of their peers. And ultimately, that's not what happened here. So I'll be curious to see how this entire thing plays out, mostly due to the fact that we're looking at this almost from like it's not, I don't know if I want to call it like the opposite side of the same coin as Damore. It feels in line with everything. It does. It feels in line with the entire situation. But what we see here is a person who was using what appears to be kind of salty language, right? Maybe inappropriate workplace language, and then is arguing that their freedom of speech was being hindered by Google. And this is where it might come down to that type of argument where Tim's saying, I was using language that I felt was appropriate, that I felt was in line with my character. Google has kind of a speak freely, program here. But at the same time, Google can come back with, well, yeah, your First Amendment rights apply to you not being busted by the government, but here we do have standards. And that's kind of what the Google spokesperson was saying. Like, this person was like Tim was using a lot of language that they don't approve of, and targeting race and gender. Now, the thing is, though, unless we know what that is, we don't know exactly who or what Tim was talking about, which I do feel if that information was presented, if we had access to that, we'd be able to then see precisely where Tim's opinions are. Based upon the lawsuit, we get a general idea, and I get a general idea of probably what Tim was saying. But just for the sake of clarity and for the sake of information, I would like to see them myself. All right, let's jump over to this one now. I'm rushing through these things because I am silly behind. All right, I saw Super Chat came through, so I'm not. I'm definitely paying attention to that. I will get to that though as soon as as soon as we get done with this. So, all right, let's, yeah, Google definitely dropped their "Don't Be Evil." Didn't they drop that like not years ago, but just recently? Anyway, all right, let's talk about this here. So there's a movie that came out in 2011 called Contagion. It's a CDC, or it's a film by Steven Soderbergh about the CDC trying to find a cure to this disease that ultimately kills a shitload of people. And it's a solid thriller. It's a solid, good movie. Matt Damon's a good, pretty good in it. Gwyneth Paltrow's in it. Good stuff. This story really does strike me. There we go. It strikes me as something that could be like the opening primer for Contagion 2, where a missing CDC employee left work sick 10 days ago and has not been seen since. Now listen, I know deep down inside, deep down inside, we all want a zombie apocalypse. Season 8, The Walking Dead, premiered tonight, you know. Rip main character on that one. Ultimately, there's a lot of people out there who really want a zombie apocalypse. And if you look at a story like this, again, it kind of feels like the setup for one of those stories. CDC employee went home sick 10 days ago, hasn't been seen since. By the way, has anyone seen what's going on with this small town outside of Atlanta? It's been relatively quiet since then. The makings of a good story is what this one particularly is. Now, police are asking for the public help to find a missing Center for Disease Control and Prevention employee who went home sick 10 days ago and hasn't been seen since. Timothy Cunningham, 35, went to work on February 12th and left sick, the Atlanta Police Department said. Cunningham, who studied at Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, is a commander in the Public Health Service and has been sent to respond to public health emergencies, including the Ebola virus and the Zika virus, according to the CDC. Ebola and Zika. That's scary. That is scary. I mean, we've had the one case of Ebola that came here a couple of years ago. It was the one doctor overseas who caught it, and then a nurse ended up catching it from them, and then it ended up breaking quarantine, and there was like that sudden fear that, oh dear God, Ebola is going to come to the United States. Thanks, Nigeria. And then, of course, the Zika virus, which, well, if you, yeah, I mean, you don't want mosquitoes with the Zika around, especially if you're pregnant. And that was a big thing for the Summer Olympics a couple of years ago because, you know, Brazil and Zika, there was a lot of cases of that there. So clearly this dude's been around some pathogens that are mighty terrifying. Right, mighty terrifying. Now, it says the CDC in a statement called Cunningham a highly respected member of the CDC family, which, yeah, this guy's been around for a long time. Clearly makes sense they want to find him. Now, police said it's unusual for Cunningham to not contact his family. Cunningham's parents said they found his phone, wallet, and car keys, as well as his dog at his home. Oh, we're going into straight up freaking mundane mysteries situation here, aren't we? So it's not the type of news you want to hear, his father, Terrell Cunningham, said. 35 years old, but always your child. Well, it totally makes sense. I totally get that. This is one of those things, just based off this here, my immediate thoughts are like, dude left 10 days ago, not feeling too hot, goes home, leaves behind his wallet, his phone, his car keys, as well as his dog. There is something rotten in Denmark, supremely rotten in Denmark. Now, this is an appeal to the public, Terrell Cunningham added. We're seeking your help in bringing Tim back safe. The CDC said, our thoughts are with his friends and family during this difficult time. Well, you know, hey, thoughts and prayers only get you so far. This is where you need to track him down. All right, because I kind of feel like, look, ultimately, I know I've made some jokes about like a movie or zombie outbreak or things like that. This is a sad story. I do want this guy returned home. Absolutely, 100%. But, but it's always that but there, right? It's always that but. What we've got here is a story that has the opportunity, and I mean the true opportunity, to get entirely blown up into wild, vast tinfoil hat conspiracy levels. Part of me wants that. Let me tell you why. Part of me wants this to go completely viral on InfoWars. Get Alex Jones out there going like, he's got the chemicals that turn the freaking frogs gay. Right? We're going to find him in a gay male strip club in Florida getting pounded by a dude named Thor. Like, that's where we're going to find this guy. Okay, here's the reason why. So if we got that kind of story or something similar, possible, underground blogger saying he could have a zombie virus out there. Keep in mind what's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. It then puts the alert out for this dude. Now, granted, look, ABC News here talking about it. It was trending on Twitter the other day. A lot of people kind of know about this story, but if you get the crazy tinfoil motherfuckers looking at this thing, if you get them dude talking about this, this is going to be one of those stories that is really, really, really going to blow up. And it has the opportunity, and I mean this literally, it has the opportunity to very much get the word out there, get this guy's face out there, and get more and more people looking for him. Because for one, they're afraid of what he might have. So if they see him, they say something. Two, they want to know if they could probably, if anyone around him is going to be also a zombie. So therefore, they might be locked and loaded in order to take out any kind of zombie horde. Hopefully not shoot this guy. I want to make that abundantly clear. But three, also, no, really, just get this dude's face out there. I really feel like in this particular case, like David Hogg levels of virability online would probably do a lot to bring Timothy Cunningham home. And I do hope he comes home safe and sound, because look, I'm pretty sure his dog misses him, his parents miss him, and clearly the CDC misses him, probably because he's holding something that could probably kill us all. I'm kidding. Come home safe. I had to talk about that one. I had to do that. Filmmakers get right and damn straight. Resident Evil Apocalypse, absolutely. All right, jumping on. So, Twitch and boobies go together. Well, like Twitch and boobies. There's lots of boobies on Twitch. As a young adolescent man, well, I'm not young, I'm not adolescent anymore, but as a young man with a healthy, I'm not really young, I'm 35. As a man with a healthy sex drive, I do enjoy Twitch boobies. Not that I get to see them, but it's the imagination of what is underneath that sweater that the puppies are being held up by. But what we have here is a situation where Twitch is probably doing something to get back at YouTube. Right now, in my personal opinion, we have a situation brewing between YouTube and Twitch where YouTube is trying to cash in on the Twitch crowd. They are definitely looking at Twitch and going like, how do we get them? How do we fuck them over? Why? Because YouTube was all set to buy Twitch a couple years ago, but then an FTC concern kind of came up and Amazon swooped in and bought it for a cool $1 billion or right around that number, and they've been able to turn it into something that is insanely huge and rivals YouTube in terms of traffic. It really does. I mean, there are reports, and I'm sure it's up by now, but a couple of years ago, Twitch, between the hours of like 7 and 9 p.m. or 6 and 9 p.m. prime time, accounted for roughly 7.5% of all U.S. internet traffic. That is some seriously high numbers for people sitting around watching other people video game, right? So you've got that. You got that whole thing going on here. But they also want to do more with the women's and get the women's into playing games, which is all good. But this particular story about Twitch giving away grants to female streamers could be a bad thing. It really could, because they want to close the gap, the gender gap. But, gamers, look, gamers know. If you got a personality, you can get people. Doesn't matter what you look like. It really doesn't matter what you look like. I got a couple hundred people watching this stream right now. I'm ugly as sin, right? Just saying, personality goes a lot farther than whether or not you got your freaking boobies hanging out. Anyway, Twitch has teamed up with 1,000 Dreams Fund as part of a program honoring Women's History Month with a Twitch broadcast her grants ranging from $500 to $2,000 for female live streamers. Yeah, because this is going to go over well with certain people. Tube Filter is reporting that the grants will be used to cover travel expenses, educational conferences, hardware upgrades, and instructional programs for the female streamers. According to the 1000 Dreamers Fund page, these grants will not be used for everyday survival purposes, such as utility bills or food costs. Yeah, no shit. It's not going to go that far. All right? Like, it's really not. If you do this as a full-time job, trust me, your gear is where you focus your money. You will eat ramen forever if you can get that new graphics card, if you can get your new lighting set up, you can get your new camera, or you get to a point of where you make enough money where credit becomes a wonderful thing that you can eventually pay off. That's ultimately what it boils down to. But yeah, you want the gear. I get it. You want the gear. But I just want to point out too, I started on my damn phone, right? I occasionally go get wasted and stream on my damn phone. But a couple years ago when I started showing my face, I used a Logitech C920 with the most commonly used webcam out there, right? And through the course of hard work and perseverance, I upgraded to the Canon 7D Mark II, which is popping out a wonderful 1080p image native from the camera. This is the kind of thing these streamers want and the kind of thing that they're going to spend this kind of money on. But I almost feel like they just didn't earn it. And that bothers me a little bit. All right, I work 7 days a goddamn week to pay for this shit. They're going to get a grant because they're females going into streaming? Oh, come on. Even Susan Wojcicki has said, like, she wants more female YouTubers. And I completely get that, too. I completely get that, too. And I want there to be more everywhere. I think anyone watching right now should do this job. But when you have these situations based around gender, especially kind of touting the gender wage gap, which we all know is a myth, it's just annoying. And this probably comes across like my most sexist video ever. It's really not. I want people to all like kind of have an even playing ground. And this whole thing, this broadcast her is just, So if you're a female, you can register before May 1st for an opportunity to be awarded a grant between $500 and $2,000. You'll be notified June 15th of grants distributed by August 1st. So they're not gonna get the money until the August, but that's coming into like the tail end of the year when the ad rates are higher. Now, grants are not recurring, but if you miss out during one semester, you can register again in the next semester for an opportunity to become a recipient of the grants. I wonder if the grant will extend to trans streamers and what requirements will be put in place to acquire the grant. And will this apply to those who utilize certain assets to gain following or those who meet certain kind of socio-political gender status in the realm of live streaming? Basically, what Billy D is asking here is, are people like Casey Tron going to apply? And are they going to be given? Are they going to be denied that because they got them boobies out? Or are you going to have to be a raging leftist, neo-Marxist in order to be able to get the grant? And now those are some questions. Those are some questions here. You got to love here. Sexiest Twitch girl streamers, April 2017. I mean, these are some pretty popular compilations. People just troll Twitch all day looking for girls who clearly aren't wearing a bra. And also who look good in yoga pants. I can't quite tell if that's just a black thong or butt sweat. And I don't care. Not one bit. I'm saving this for later. But the point is, Tina Shadow Fox 86 Degenhardt is a streamer who feels that the grants will help the betterment of females' treatment within the game industry, mentioning in the press release, many of the problems women face are because of the lack of respect. The industry won't understand how to treat women if we don't show them how to treat women. Yeah, but then of course, I'm sure many female live streamers on Twitch will agree. It says here thick Twitch streamers. And again, this is the kind of stuff you see. There are people on there. There was a Russian Twitch streamer who was basically treating it like a campsite just recently. Enough rubles come in her donation box, and she gets up there and she basically starts double clicking her mouse. There's a lot of that kind of crap that goes on. A lot of these kind of things take place, and the thing is, women who go into Twitch, they know this because sex sells, and that is not an uncommon thing. But yet men who don't wear t-shirts when they stream, I mean, let's face it, most streamers you don't want to see topless, but the men who can pull it off have been busted for doing so, when the girls will sit there with like super low cut tops, the AC on blast and not wearing a bra, and it's like totally fine. And the thing is, if you criticize that, you're immediately treated as sexist if you criticize that. But a lot of people who get frustrated at that kind of crap, like, we understand, for one, you're rocking the game. We get it. You're rocking the game. The game is get paid, right? I'm in the same boat. If I had the boobs to pull it off, which I might, depending on the top I'm wearing, I'd probably do it. I can't complain. But at the same time, the other part of me is like, oh, you want there to be hard work and not just people who want to jerk off to your stuff. But at the same time, don't hit the player, hit the game, right? But I still feel like this particular broadcast, her grant is kind of sexist. So Andrew Schroeder, Twitch's director of charity partnerships, also played up the gender equality spiel, making it known that it's an ardent mission at Twitch, saying the event will elevate the importance of greater gender equity during Women's History Month and is a wonderful opportunity for members of the Twitch community to engage with this issue. Now, here's the thing. Wouldn't you feel... Okay, this is just how I feel. Well, let's continue. We'll finish it up and I'll get my point. So it says, typically, when the Twitch community engages with an issue that Twitch moderation doesn't like, there are ban hammers and user muting that goes around. We'll see how well they adapt to this new grant and whether or not the community will embrace it or see it as Twitch applying gender affirmative action within the live stream space. Given today's caustic socio-political atmosphere, it will be interesting to see how the live streamers respond and how the community treats those who are on the receiving end of said grants. I don't feel like people on the receiving end of those grants are going to get any kind of special treatment. In fact, I would argue that they would probably get a lot harder treatment simply because the implications that come along with getting it. And I think that is just a fair assessment. That what you've got is you have a system in place where there are going to be people out there that are going to look at this grant for getting, new equipment. Whether you want to upgrade your PC to play the latest games, you want that 1080 X whatever. that new, I don't even know what it is anymore. That new graphics card. You want to get the solid state drive. You want to get the RAM. You want to get the 4K monitor. You want to have the top camera. You want to have the top mic. You want to have the top lighting. You want to drop $68 for your custom shower curtain. Yeah. It's awesome, right? I love it. The point is there are things that you will eventually get to by working your way up. You learn new tips, new tricks. You learn which gear is best. You learn how to do this. You also build your personality and build your community along the way. If you are given this grant and kind of put into the spotlight, it almost feels like you didn't earn it. And that, I feel, ultimately boils down to kind of like the most sexist part about this. I view these kind of things as not a way to elevate women. Because if you wanted to elevate women, you would obviously want to, maybe establish a rapport with them, find out whether or not they've got the ability to cut it amongst everyone else who's been grinding their freaking ass off for years, and then kind of maybe give them a bit of a push, right? Maybe some front page promotion, maybe some Twitch promotion or some Twitter promotion, things like that. But instead you want to give them money and then teach them how to do it. It's just kind of like everyone else who's worked their ass off to get where they are doesn't get the same opportunity, which, to be fair, is the absolute opposite of equality. I don't know. I'm just saying, it's not a... Is yoga pants considered new equipment? Probably. Probably, man. All right, move that over here. Move that over here. Okay. Let's talk about the China wages war on the funeral. China gonna wage that war, man. China's just gonna do it. They don't care. They coming after you, man. They coming after you hardcore. So okay. All right. And okay. So, where the fuck am I at? Oh, I lost where I'm at. Okay. Cool. We got 234 people in here. Fucking fantastic. How many likes do we have? Let me take a quick look at that. How many likes do we got? How many likes? Oh, 94. 230 people watching. China number one. China number one. Come on in and smash that like before we jump into the China story. Before we jump into the China story, motherfucker. Ah, goddamn, my nose is so fucking itchy. All right. Where is... There we go. There's that. Okay. Recording. Good to go. As a young man, I had a certain penchant for strippers. Got to know a lot of the managers at strip clubs around San Diego. Due to my running for governor of California in 2003, it ultimately led to the fact of never having to pay entry into a club ever again. This a lot had to do with the fact that I would go on and act as a local celebrity to judge certain Miss Spring Break competitions. It was awesome. I would bill myself as not only the rock governor of San Diego, but also a porn connoisseur. That being said, I do happen to fancy me some strippers, even though for the most part, a lot of them are kind of horrible. But China's doing something I never thought possible. It's cracking down. It's waging war on funeral strippers. Because when I die, I want people to throw a party, and I never once thought about hiring strippers. And now that China's against it, oh, I'm all for it. Why? Because fuck communism, that's why. It says China has launched its crackdown against the phenomenon, which won't seem to die in rural areas. Funeral strippers. Now, this must be like the Reddit equivalent of China's trashy boners, because if you're in the rural area of China and you're getting strippers for the funeral, it probably doesn't feel like the most evolved of places. I guess you could call it kind of like the white trash area of China. And what would you call the white trash area of China? You couldn't call it China trash, yellow trash. It doesn't really seem to make any squinty trash. I don't know. I'm sure the comment section will be able to come up with a number of interesting and probably horrifically racist ways of coming up with that term. Anyway, the Ministry of Culture said last month that it was targeting striptease and other obscene, pornographic, and vulgar performances at funerals, weddings, and traditional Chinese New Year public gatherings. Okay, listen, I can understand at a traditional Chinese New Year public gathering that some girl up there might want to grab that pole and act like she's trying to climb the dragon. I understand that, but at a wedding? Now, that does feel like it's more inappropriate than a funeral. Right? At a funeral, you figure everyone's out there having a party, right? You want them to have a party. They want to remember you. And someone out there might be needing to grieve by watching a young nubile woman grind on a pole or on a table for a while. People grieve in different ways. 5 stages hits you at different times. But at a wedding, that just feels like you are setting the wrong tone. Now, the war on strippers at funerals has been a long one for China. Authorities first began clamping down on obscene performances in 2006 and launching a second campaign in 2015. The latest focused on 19 cities across 4 provinces, Henan, Anhui, Jiangsu, and Hebei, a statement on the Ministry of Culture's website said. So 19 cities, this is a problem apparently. A lot of people out there really like funeral strippers. And I'm not going to lie. I can understand it. I do. Some communities in rural China reportedly believe that bigger attendances at funerals help honor the dead and bring them good fortune. Which I get that, right? Because here's the thing. You get to the end of your life, you die. Well, ultimately you don't know anything because you're dead. But you also kind of want your last moments on Earth before they kind of shuffle you off this mortal coil to be celebrated. Right? I mean, everyone I think deep down inside wants a funeral to have everyone they've ever touched in their life, and not like in a creepy pedo way, but like in a way like, oh, you helped this person cross the street, or you saved this person, this one's your friend, this is your family, this is your relatives, everyone out there who knew you and loved you. That would be something that I think everyone out there would want. I mean, just imagine the most narcissistic YouTuber like Onision would probably want all the hordes of 15-year-old girls who he's body shamed to come to his eventual funeral. Like, that's kind of how you would view it, that kind of level of narcissism. But I think it also gives us some comfort that at our last moments, people out there who we've touched would want to come pay their respects, right? We all kind of deep down want that. Not everyone's going to get it, though. Let's be fair, right? Not everyone's going to get it for a multitude of reasons. The older you get, the more relationships you have kind of taper away. It's just kind of a fact of life. I mean, if you're at a high school now, ask yourself how many people you still talk to. And then over the course of your leaving of high school or college or whatever, has that number dwindled down? It's just a course of life. It's perfectly fine. But sucks nonetheless. That being said, you can understand why they'd want to have this for a funeral. You bring out the strippers, people just kind of randomly show up. It's like people who crash a wedding, hoping to get the free food. Here they're hoping that they crash the funeral in order to make sure that the honor will bring the dead good luck in the afterlife. I'm actually kind of all for it. I'm 100% all for it. Now, some experts say that the erotic shows pay tribute to fertility. Okay. From the perspective of a wedding, I understand. You want the bride and groom to consummate that night to get a little funeral, right? You want that. Therefore, you want them to be with child, to procreate. And in the wake, in the idea of a funeral, you also want the grieving to turn into more of a celebration. You know, you want people to celebrate death by creating new life. That's kind of the way the whole world works, right? The cycle of life, so to speak, or circle of life. Now, according to the interpretation of cultural anthropology, the feat is originated from the worship of reproduction. Media professor Kwang Hyen said, therefore, the erotic performance at a funeral is just cultural activism. Or cultural atavism. I'm not too sure what that word means. But yeah, look, the corpse is already stiff. Now all the other fellas get there too. Woo woo. Now, reports say that the new campaign involves people being offered financial rewards to contact a special hotline to report funeral misdeeds. Oh my God. So the Ministry of Culture has set up a tip line for you to report on funeral strippers. How sad of a life do you have to actually dial that number, right? To sit there and come across a funeral where you got a couple girls performing an erotic dance and go, you know what? This is wrong. This is wrong. My culture, my minister of culture wants me to turn this in. I am such a heartless douchebag that I'm going to go turn in people trying to grieve through the process of erection. How bad do you have to be? Apparently pretty bad because it exists. Now, the media has often blamed these shows on the increasing decadence and materialism of Chinese families as the country opens up the West. Now, here's the thing to keep in mind with that one. The Chinese middle class is growing, hence why a number of our Hollywood movies take money from China in order to, deal with that, because that's where that middle class is going to the theater more often. And so as I guess you could say, as the middle class rises, so do certain people's, you could call it kinks, maybe, right? Or they're gonna wanna enjoy the certain finer things that the middle class life can buy. So it says here, in recent decades, the Global Times said on Tuesday that Chinese rural households are more inclined to show off their disposable income by paying out several times their annual income for actors, singers, comedians, and most recently strippers to comfort the bereaved and entertain the mourners. So basically, this is a status symbol. It is. This is a status symbol. If you're throwing a wedding or you're throwing a funeral or whatever, a New Year's Day parade or some shit, fuck it. You know it is. You know it's the wedding or the funeral, right? Especially a funeral, you want to show that you care, that this person died, had status, right? And that status is going to be done by bringing in the strippers. You know, I never thought I'd love China as much as I do right now, right? China cracking down on funeral strippers only makes me want to have a funeral stripper. So in that moment comes where I finally die from drinking my 800th Rockstar in a row, and I keel over and I kick over. I want you guys out there to throw down super chats, to throw down donations in order to hire strippers for my funeral. That's what I want now. I think that's going to be a good way to go. But that's how my legacy is honored, not through my daughter or the people that I might have touched doing YouTube emotionally, not physically, clearly metaphorically, not literally, but through strippers. I think that's the best. Now, it says here that the news agency said in 2015 that exotic performers highlight the tappings of modern life in China, whereby vanity and snobbery will prevail over traditions. You got to love how they're trying to really crack down on that. Look, here's the brass tacks of it. Everybody, and I mean everybody, loves to bone, right? Everyone loves to bone, man. And then you're feeling down, like you're feeling like depressed or whatever. You're having, like having a bad day. You wanna feel good. And who knows here? This particular expert girl on poll here can really make you feel good. And if you want to show off your wealth and how much of a snob you currently are, you can throw down some serious coin for some serious strippers. But you gotta watch out, because seriously, there's a tip number out there in order to report your ass to the government if you do. So it's really a gamble. Just like having sex with a stripper is a gamble for any kind of STD they might be harboring. Okay. Why? I don't give a shit about choosing my provider. Let me take a look here. That was pretty funny. All right. Let's jump through this last one. Essentially, hey, when I start running through the stories, I can get there pretty damn quick. Okay, this isn't even a story about the damn thing. Who cares? Give me at least a picture or something I can work with here. Come on, you son of a bitch. All right, that's fine. At least it's not looking like the one dude or the other ugly guy. Okay. When you want the stripper to ride you like Seabiscuit? H-Rab, I totally fucked it up. I should have said happy funeral, happy ending. That was good, man. I'm going to steal that, though. I own that now. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. Okay, let's jump this last one here. Right. You know, tragedies always have a very weird effect on society. They do. I mean, people out there, they mourn, right? Look at Parkland. Look at Vegas, especially Parkland because it's the most recent. And people out there are mourning and they are upset and they want answers and they want justice and they want action. All right. And oftentimes it ends up not ever accomplishing anything because no one ever wants to agree on a course of action going forward. But one of the things that people do tend to agree on is no tolerance for jokes, no tolerance for bad commentary, and no tolerance for anything out of the norm in the wake of the tragedy. And that's kind of what we're seeing here, where a math symbol flagged as a gun sign sparks a police investigation. I really don't like using the term Orwellian, right? Without like, you know, there being like legit crime, you know, accusations of wrong thing. But this ultimately kind of feels like that. It really, really does. Now, it says here that less than a week after the Florida high school massacre that claimed 17 lives on Valentine's Day, police were called to a Louisiana high school after fears were sparked by a student drawing the square root sign. Yeah, a student drawing the square root sign. This sign right down here is a gun. Maybe? Kinda? I mean, if I went like, I don't know, I can't even do it. Who cares? It's not a gun. It's not a gun. You need a lot more for it to be considered a gun. It's not even the emoji for a gun is a lot more convincing because it actually looks like a damn gun. Now, detectives launched an investigation on February 20th at Oberlin High School after students expressed concern during a math session that the standard symbol, which refers to a number multiplied by itself to produce a new quantity, resembled a gun. After several students reportedly made such a comment, one student who was helping a classmate solve the math problem using the square root sign said something that they may have interpreted as a threat out of context, prompting the involvement of authorities. So what you've got is you've got a class full of students who are ultimately scared for their lives in the wake of what happened, right? And that is a very real fear. I was a junior in high school when Columbine happened, right? A junior in high school. And at the moment Columbine was happening, we didn't know about it. They didn't tell us. But I made a comment to my classmate about how, you know, like there never really been there's never a high body count, right, in school shootings. Because we in Oregon had the Springfield, the Thurston High School shooting a year earlier with Kip Kinkle. He only killed, I think, like 2 or 3 kids. And so that was my thought process at the time. I was 17. Well, I go home and I see, you know, on TV, 50 dead. School shooting. It was only 13, but that doesn't make it any better. And the next day I felt horrible. I didn't go to school that day. I skipped school that day. I went and saw a movie and didn't tell anyone. I felt so guilty, so racked by my commentary that I didn't want to go to school at all. And my fear was that the school was going to get shot up. And a lot of other kids had that fear too, and they've had that ever since. And so this whole part of it is there's always that level of fear. But that level of fear should be one that should be calmed by the administration. And they should not do what they did here, which is, you know, look at this as being a threat out of context. There needs to be some logic and some rationality that goes in to these type of situations. Reasonability needs to reign supreme in the face of absolute fear. And I get that. Now, police did not specify what the comment was, but the student's home was searched. No guns were found, nor was there any evidence that the student had access to guns or intended to carry out any crimes. So the student made a comment. Some students got upset out of context. The cops were called in and they went to his house and they searched his home, but no guns were found, nor anything else to specify that he had any intention of carrying out a crime. And keep in mind that over the course of the week following Parkland, there were 50 threats that were made. 50 threats that were made. And a couple of them were actual situations where there was a credible threat that was being that was being put out there, right? Like parents noticed their kids acting a certain way, turned them in, found diaries and notebooks and guns, There were some real threats that were out there, and that could have actually ended horribly had someone not acted. So I understand the concern here. But when they went to his house and they searched everything, I mean, come on, even the clock kid, Ahmed, didn't even get this kind of treatment. And he was literally going class to class to class with a little briefcase-shaped box with a clock in it in order to elicit a reaction. Now, Allen Parish Sheriff Doug Herbert later indicated that gossip among students had distorted the comment to make it sound as though the student was a potential threat, planning to bring a weapon to school with the intent on committing a mass shooting. The controversial comment made, according to the superintendent, Michael Doucette, ran along the lines of, "Now let's get to work before I shoot you with the pistol." Stupid comment. But then again, through students playing a game of telephone, as these things tend to expand, brought down a full investigation on this kid's head over a dumb comment. But with 50 threats that have been made over the course of the week after Parkland, and this incident taking place 6 days after that event, one can understand the fear. Doesn't make it any better, doesn't make it any more right, but one can understand the fear. Now, school officials have since concluded in its report that while the student used extremely poor judgment in making the remark, there was clearly no evidence to support the charges. So the kid made a joke, a horrible joke, one that was stupid. Made the comment, drew the square root sign, and that was that. Enough to almost brand this kid a killer in the making, and that is very sad. Now, it says that, however, further disciplinary action may be imposed on the student, as Doucette emphasized that the school board has since approved stricter guidelines for shooting threats in response to the incident. So they found that he used extremely poor judgment in a one-off comment that people took as a threat. They then went to his house, searched his house, found no guns, found no clear evidence of him organizing a school, never mind the fact that that particular telephone game had taken a comment and turned it into a full-blown school shooting threat, complete with him bringing a large gun to school for the sake of a mass shooting. And now they're saying that even though they concluded their report, that there was nothing to fear, nothing wrong, this kid did nothing besides make a bad, stupid, fucking joke, that further disciplinary action might still happen because of the school board's stricter guidelines on threats in response to the incident. So even though it was made in jest, even though it wasn't a realistic thing, even though everyone concludes that theory, this kid could still see his entire situation, his entire high school career fucked over by this kind of asinine train of thought. And this is why I cannot stand the zero tolerance approach to a lot of this stuff. Where's the logic? Where is the reasonability? Where is the rationality? Where is a freaking adult in all of this? I don't know, the school board approved stricter guidelines for threats made in response to the incident. We gotta make sure that this boy here knows not to sit there and draw a square root sign. For math is the devil's work. That is a devil's pistol. Here to shoot down the Bible. I got no freaking idea. This is so dumb. The first thing we're going to do is remove that student from the premises with the proper authority, Doucette said to the ABC affiliate. Then we're going to have a home visit by the detectives in the sheriff's department, and if no charges are filed, we're going to conduct a threat assessment on the student. As of Thursday, the student reportedly remained banned from the property and is awaiting an expulsion hearing. They found nothing. No threat was really made. Nothing that was considered to be a threat was even remotely even looked at. And yet he's still looking at potential expulsion. I cannot even begin to describe to you what is wrong with this. Tracy here says, poor kid, his life at the school is over. Time to move to a different school. Completely agree. Completely freaking agree. That drawing hurt those dumb kids' feelings because he took away their safe space by showing them they're dumb and still need to learn. Yeah, math is a hell of a thing. I truly hate how our country has gotten to. I do. I mean, it goes on to say here, finishing up here. Schools across the country have been on especially high alert since the Florida shooting incident earlier this month, which has set the stage for a nationwide gun control debate and student movements calling for a tightening of laws regarding access to weapons. Is that a weapon, though? Is that a weapon? No, it's not. And this kid could get expelled because he drew a math symbol. And they wonder. They wonder why our country is so screwed. why kids aren't learning. Now they're going to be fearful of math. They're going to be fearful of math. Right? The only thing you should ever fear in math is freaking algebra, man. No, trig. That shit's horrible. But this is dumb. Is this where we've gone? Is this where we've gotten to? Is this the society that we're raising these kids in now? You know, I mean, like, yeah, like I said, Columbine was like, things changed after Columbine when I was there. You know, things changed. We had, there was a kid, and I like to tell the story occasionally. There's this kid who wore a business suit every day. He was known for that. Columbine, trenchcoat mafia. The next day, all of a sudden, trench coats were banned, right? This is the type of overreaction that happened. This kid was literally suspended because he wore his full-length coat that he wore every single day. I'm talking 3-piece suit, tie, everything. He was suspended. So his senior yearbook photo was him in a leather jacket, dressed like a damn greaser, essentially saying, F the police. This is the overreaction. I can't. If this ever happened to my kid, I would lose my shit. I would lose my shit on the school. I would go crazy on them because this is ridiculous. It feels like it's predatory. It's completely unnecessary. And it further delineates actual threats. It further pushes back actual threats from being looked at. Yeah, you wanna step on and make sure this kid didn't do nothing. Fine. You looked into it. You found that this statement of poor judgment. That was it. But you still want to expel him. If that's not Orwellian, I don't know what is. All right. Bam. 5 stories done in a fair amount of time. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. I'll probably start doing the stories a little bit earlier so we can have conversations afterward, because I do have to go in like the next 15 minutes. So let's take a look at the chat here. I do see we have a $10 super chat from Liz Reptile. Hey, what's up, Liz? Long time no see. I saw Liz last at VidCon, which was last summer. She says here, seems like this is a case of someone has to pay because of reasons. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty damn much. No, Twisted Visions, that wasn't California. That was Louisiana, man. That was Louisiana. There's also another super chat here from Mr. DJ Fly High, saying, apparently the Russians are funding the NRA, but my question is, will Trump ever get impeached? No, I don't think Trump will get impeached. Eventually we'll have a Ministry of Truth, probably. It's a symbol Asians use to kick our ass in the economy. Yeah, I agree. Oh, I do absolutely agree. So, that's just crazy, man. That angered me, too. That really did anger me. You're willing to bet this kid is someone unpopular to begin with, or usually ones get screwed? Yeah, probably. One of the strippers you named dressed me in her wedding dress and lingerie. What do you mean? Which one's the strippers that I named? I don't think I named anyone by name. I don't think I did. Math makes frogs gay. Oh, okay, Liz, so you're getting back in the swing of things. All right, no Discord for you. That is how you have to live your life now. No Discord for you. The plus symbol is an inverted Nazi symbol. You know how math can cause school shootings. There needs to be legislation against it. I mean, think of the children. Yeah. What's going on, Flower Tower? How are you, man? Thoughts on Jim's tirade white knighting JF the alt-right tonight? I did not. Is that the one where he was kind of going off on V? I didn't see it. Link me to it. Ooh, pardon. Sorry. I did not see that at all. So, okay. Yeah, link me over to X. I have no idea. I don't pay that much attention to Jim anymore. I like Jim, but if I had to take a gander, I'd probably say that, you know, I think I kind of feel like this Bloodsport thing is kind of his last hurrah, you know, because he's talking about getting off of YouTube anyway, going off for a while, and this might be his last thing. Thoughts on polio having a second rise? Great, that's good. Who doesn't like polio, right? He's trying to one up V. Yeah, V. I mean, I don't know what the fuck V's. I don't know what the fuck V's up to with this shit. Okay, I guess what V's trying to say is, from what I understand, he says that anyone who goes against the alt-right on the blood sports ends up getting doxxed, bad shit happens to their family, or things like, I guess people have sent shit to V's mom apparently. Thanks a lot, Celia. I'll get to you here in just a second. And I feel like that's probably what it's all about. But I will say though, for a person who does not care, which is generally Jim, doesn't care much about anything, even being objectively correct or presenting objective truth or full context. Sometimes, like as he's done with me now, on the Kilroy video, my context was not presented fully, and I've told him that. But anyway, he's getting really defensive over it. Like, I mean, a 17-minute long video defending blood sports that boils down to some people like it. It's like Jerry Springer. What the fuck are you getting upset about? Is really interesting to me. So V is single-handedly demolishing the alt-right. V is definitely getting involved in some shit. I don't know what's I don't know what's gonna happen. So Jim, no, I don't think Jim cares an awful lot about the alt-right. I do not think that at all. Jim likes chaos. Jim is always like chaos. And this is like the perfect blend of chaos. It's the blend of chaos he can dip his toe in whenever he wants, and still be popular enough to kind of propagate it as sport. So I don't think Jim cares about the alt-right. I don't think he cares about anyone, to be honest with you. And I think that's a fair assessment of Jim. And again, I have a lot of respect for the guy, but that's kind of the way that I see it. So ultimately, that's kind of where we are right now. And I look at Jim and I'm thinking, okay, well, this is, but this is the hill he wants to die on. I don't think he's gonna. I know he's trolling, but I don't think this is not the hill you want to die on. Ultimately, is what I'm trying to say. So there's that. And are you talking Jim's getting attacked or V's getting attacked? Twisted Visions, you've got to use names because there's a delay on everything. RJ, Jim's always been a troll. Yeah, he's always been a troll. Absolutely. But he's super defensive over this in like a way that's not like troll-like, in a way that's clearly indicating something else. So, so there's definitely that. But yeah, I'm kind of curious. I'm definitely kind of curious what's going to happen tomorrow with the stream. I might watch it. I might not. I might catch a highlight. That's kind of, I mean, I have other shit to do. Okay. You meant Jim. Jim's getting criticism, which is so funny because Jim generally doesn't care about criticism. Jim's never cared, I mean, unless things have changed enough for him to where now he actually does care, which would make some sense. Once they saw how much money they got for going after Zeph and me at first, before the crowd thing, they got so hot and heavy into blasting people. Liz, I don't think you're wrong. And I've been vocal about that exact same thing. I've, made several comments that super chats kind of reign supreme. I mean, like I do this show, a couple nights a week, and I do okay super chat wise or Streamlabs wise. People are very generous, and I greatly appreciate everything. But I do this because I like interacting with you guys and not because it's about the money. I have fun with a little ad block guilt money underneath because I think it's kind of funny, a little bit tongue in cheek if you know my channel. Also streamlabs.com/mundane Matt. But no, but ultimately it's that's the whole thing is if you start making it about the money, it comes across, as bad. And people give me shit for that all the time because of the whole ad block thing. I said the ad block thing in absolute jest. I did this shit for fucking 3 years before I could even go full time, right? There's dedication that comes into it. And then that's what pushes you going forward. Jim did say in a Patreon post that he's having health problems. He's looking to back away from YouTube. That's what he said. I don't know quite, what's going on with that one. But the thing is, Jim Jim is not a bad guy by any stretch of the imagination. One night I made a comment on Twitter, just I was having a rough time, the apocalypse and buying a house and having a kid. I just kind of freaked out. And he actually sent me an encouraging message. He did. He sent me an encouraging message, just unprovoked, sent me a very nice message. So Jim cares. He does care, about some stuff, but he's getting defensive over this and everything else. And I don't hold anything against the guy. He's trolled me for fucking years, but it always feels like it's more of a playful thing than anything else. And so that's kind of the way I view it, is like, I respect Jim for what he does. I think the internet is ultimately a better place for the type of muckraking that he does. And I loved it too. I called him a muckraker one night, and someone literally thought that I was calling him like the N-word. They ran to him fast. Oh my God, they ran to Jim. Jim, do you know what Matt was saying about you? He called you a muckraker. And I'm like, yeah, it's basically a shit poster. It's just a nice way of saying it. And the guy was like, DKJ, I don't know how good Ash vs. Evil Dead is. I've seen one episode. Jim, yes, yeah, Joseph, Jim as a medicker. You're not guilty using ad block. I'm not going to fool you. Oh, Rachel, but you're already thinking about it. So I'm just saying it's like, there's a lot there that I like about Jim. So it's less of, oh, Jim sucks now, and more something's wrong. I hope it's fixed soon. And we need people. Yeah. I agree. I do hope something's wrong. It's fixed and everything else. What are my general thoughts on Paul Joseph Twatson? Not a fan. Not a fan. I don't like people that shill fake news or shill bullshit, right? Like, Paul's really good at a lot of that crap. I'm not a big fan. I don't like InfoWars. How am I fucking up? What's going on? Who fucked up? I'm trying to read the chat and understand. You watching your PS4, your phone, and your PS4, so no ad block needed? Goddamn right, Twisted Visions. Thoughts on Rodney Dangerfield? Loved Rodney Dangerfield. Loved him. It's so sad that he's gone. You don't understand why people would not use ad block. No, I understand why people use ad block. I like to make jokes about it, but like, I completely understand it. I do. I completely get it. It's one of those things where it's, there's some pretty fucked up ads, like the ones that were like mining cryptocurrency and shit. Like, that was pretty bad. So I can understand it. Thoughts on the Steven Crowder meme? I thought it was pretty funny. I thought it was pretty good. So Paul Joseph Watson can be a real dumbass sometimes. Yup. I mean, to be fair, we all can, but like, I feel like when he hits peak dumbassness, it's pretty bad. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I know Ash vs. Evil Dead 1 and 2 are seasons 1 and 2 are on Netflix, and I know season 3 started tonight. I've been meaning to watch it. I've been catching up on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I've been watching that, and I'll probably move over to Ash once I'm done. Since I'm up with the baby, I gotta take care of that pretty soon. I just catch up on Hulu and other shows. Have I tried Dragon Ball FighterZ? I have not. Oh, Crowder got butthurt. Oh, that's even better. If Crowder, the thing is, like, okay, I've been memed. We all know this. All right, we all know this. I've been memed. What happens when I'm memed? Right? You have to lean into the meme. If you try to fight it, or if you get butthurt over it, yeah, it's only gonna go bad. You gotta, sorry, fucking burpee, but you gotta lean into the meme. So, yeah, no, Liz, I think the shit that went on is like, look, you guys, that server was dumb. You shouldn't have fucking done it. Not the end of the fucking world, but it should not have been done. The problem with it is, though, is what happened with that server, and then the Kilroy drama, is it became this perfect storm for people to throw other people under the bus for profit, and ultimately make YouTube a shittier place. So we can all thank Andy Worski for that one. And if you get all butthurt over that, no, you have to understand about Worski is Worski started speaking on behalf of members of the alt-right, but ultimately it boiled down to him not getting a panel. That's what happened. And the people in the alt-right that were upset over the fact that Dave Cullen and Base Mama were like not communicating well enough ended up really fucking things up. And then that got conflated with the Kraut drama because Base Mama was also in there. Bunty was also in there. Anyone who uses Discord knows for a fact that I'm in like 30 Discords. I don't go in fucking any of them. But I'm in mine, link below, and everything else. There's a lot of bullshit. But it got conflated into a situation that created internet blood sports for what it is. And ultimately, we're all worse off as a result. What could have been easily discussed and broken down as like either miscommunication, misunderstanding, work together, was seized upon as a moment for profitability at the expense of others, especially others that you're in a community with that you apparently liked. But they didn't stop anyone from really throwing them under the bus and making up a lot of accusations that weren't always founded. And that is where we find ourselves. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that the fun that was happening at VidCon 2017 will not repeat itself in VidCon 2018. It won't, period. But that is the perils when you do this kind of job. So there's definitely that. So I know Base Mom had nothing to do with the server, but because she was in it that's the connection, because she was in it. Same with Bunty. And then of course the stuff Base Mama said, like the IQ thing, which was just, oh my God. Yeah. So anyway, that's the kind of done with that. What do I feel about the dislike of my Trump video? I don't care. I don't care. I thought I was being well rationed in it too. I even defended Trump. I said I think he's coming at it from like a good place. I do, but it's not a good idea. And then people, I don't know, they had to look at the title of the video and they thought that I was being wrong or whatever. I'm totally fine with culling of subscribers that are going to be like that, and so I'm cool. I've lost about 100 at this point. Let me take a look here. I've lost about 100 today. A little more than 100 now. Let's take a look at my social plate real quick. Since I lost about 80. That's fine. I don't give a shit. It's the thing is I'll get them back tomorrow. Maybe different people, but I'll get them back. That's the thing. You can't be bound down by this kind of thing. People that are really try to push that agenda, arguably are, whatever. It's a full week without a Logan Paul controversy. Damn straight. So, let the haters hate on that video pretty much. Your subs belong. Well, then you better make a response video and then post it in the chat. Here's the thing, Metro Tabletop Girls. You want to make a response video to that thing? I will fucking, not only will I heart it in the chat or in the comment section, I will pin it. I will pin it so that people can see the response video. Because we should honestly, YouTube needs to bring back response videos. They do. They need to bring back response videos. I want that so fucking much to come back. The real subs, exactly. I was being fair in the video. I was being absolutely fair in the video, laying out my thoughts for why this won't work, and maybe here's a solution for work. Honestly, the thing probably killed it was the fact that I said no, Trump arming teachers isn't right, or whatever the fuck I said it was. If I would have changed the title to be like, I don't like something more maybe appropriate, like, something more where I cupped Trump's balls in my hand, maybe slightly worked the tip a little bit while maybe struggling the balls and putting one finger up the ass, then maybe that would have gotten me a bit better play with some of those people, but I don't really give a shit. Yeah, tie in the fucking crazy hair drama from VidCon was fun. That was fun. I got mad because I don't like being lied about, and she was lying the fuck off about me and going on multiple streams and saying it too. Good night, Maverick. Thanks for coming in, man. So InfoWars, is he SNL the all right? Oh, really? Tonka called you a pedo, Liz? That sounds like something Tonka would say. Did he call you a ho bitch ho and then call you a pedo? Because that's the type of intellectual dialogue you're gonna get from him. So, all right, man. See you later, Liz. Have a good one. The only one is not the play. Sometimes I will say this though. Sometimes it's really hard not to react. Like I saw one guy who's friendly with Andy and Tonka today, making comments about my daughter's eventual period. And like, I had to fight from like saying something. I'm like, she just turned 3 weeks old and you're bringing up her eventual period, like me being covered in her period blood. Like, for one, leave my kid out of it, because that's got nothing to do with anything. She's 3 weeks old. she's fucking precious. She's a long ways away from any of that being a reality, and that's like that's kind of a dick call. I didn't say nothing in response, but I saw that and I'm like, really? Really? I just wanted to kind of fire back with like, so where's your YouTube channel? Should you be focusing on that shit? What happened to Tonka? Tonka got some fame. It went to his fucking head. And he also realizes that people like the internet bloodsport side of it. Because what he does, and this is the best way to describe it, what Tonka does is Tonka does the it's a wrestling approach, because he does wrestling, right? So he's a fan of professional wrestling. So everything that they do, you have to look at it from that perspective. They're spinning a soap opera essentially, and they're using that type of overinflated ego and that overinflated attitude to create these characters that would engage in internet blood sports. That's the whole point. That's the whole thing they're getting at. So it's just kind of funny to watch. So that's a lot of how it works. Tonka's not changed. I don't know. He was always cool to me. But essentially, yeah, I thought that was like kind of fucked up. Like talking about my daughter, like my daughter is like, you know, all she does is like eat, sleep, and shit all day. And she's just like a perfect little angel. So like, whatever, man. So yeah, it's just, that's the thing I'm trying to get to. It's like, you know, the fucking, the harmful opinions thing where I was crying and saying I'm not the father. Yeah. If that is the attack one wants to make, then that is not a worthwhile attack to even give a fuck about. Right. If like harmful opinions wants to come after me for, you know, and try to mock me like that over like my kid, you know, at any point in time that there is a moment where he says someone went too far with a joke, I'm going to fucking hammer him with that. But like, look, dude, you can make your comments, but you're trying to imply that, you know, you mean me to find like my daughter is not my daughter. Like, you know, you can't really sit there and say that there's no going too far. Me and your daughter have a lot in common. Why? What the fuck? I spend most of my time talking to you guys. No, Liz, this person, you know, this person, he's kind of foxy, if you know what I'm talking about. So, anyway, it's all pointless bullshit, right? Like, here's the thing. I could get caught up in drama. Or I could, you know, sit there and find my stories, talk about the stuff I want to talk about, interact with 200 plus people in this chat, which is fucking awesome. I love doing what I do every single night. I like doing 3-book theater. I'm feeling better now, so I can go back to that this week. You know, and do that. And that's kind of what I want to do. And so I wouldn't be here without you guys. So like, I want you guys to know that. We need to do more of a call-in show. I think it'd be kind of fun. And, so yeah, so it's good stuff. It's definitely good stuff. I mean, it's all, you know, it is what it is and shit. Can't really, yeah. It's all fun and games, I guess, right? Is that all what it boils down to now? It's all fun and games until someone gets hurt, and then it's fucking funny. Let's see. Where, oh fuck, I close that out. So, okay. What would I have you do if I brought you on as an employee? I would have you just do research and shit. Am I going to make a big Twitch push? I might. I mean, what I'm doing this week is, so I recorded the 5 stories, right? Well, tomorrow the 5 stories are not going to be posted. I'm going to post 3. And then I'm going to save the other 2 for the weekend. Because ultimately what it boils down to is I don't really ever take the weekends off. I work about 7 days a week. I don't stream on Friday or Saturday or Sunday, or Friday or Saturday, but I do tend to put a lot of work in. So I figured if I do the 3 videos and then I save the couple for the weekend, then that would be better. I get the opportunity to then relax a little bit, and that'd be good too. When I do 3-book theater, will I cover the Ghostbusters mobile game? Yeah, I'll talk about it over there. And here's the thing, I will do videos on the vlog channel of me playing that game too, by the way. So that'd be a lot of fun. How much do I pay? Wait, how much do I pay for the position? nothing. I don't make enough money to pay anyone right now. So I more or less like what I look for in terms of like research is more or less like just interesting stories since I read the articles, you know. And it's funny because I actually like the reading of the articles thing. I don't mind that at all. Like a lot of other people do it now too. I feel like I was one of the first to probably do it the most, but no. I like it, and allows me to go through a fair amount. And you know, like I would love to do more. Like what I would ultimately like to do, like RJ, if I'm being honest with you, I'd like to eventually do like hire like an editor would be good, and then maybe not read the articles myself because I put out so much content, so it just allows me to do it. Otherwise, I would like to hire an editor. I'd record the video, record the commentary, send it off to them, and let them do it. That's what I want. What am I playing right now? Oh, straight up, dude, fucking Kingdom Come. Good game, great game. But okay, on that note, I need to wrap this up because we've been up for a little over 2 hours. I need to go and use the bathroom, and I need to go start taking care of my kid. So I'll be back on tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. For another show. I'll be back on actually at 9:30 p.m. Simply because of everything. And then I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys so much for coming on in. Have a good one, and peace out.